Now, how many Final Destination films are they going to make? I hope they make them forever. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Final Destination Bloodlines is the next chapter in this franchise, coming in at 1 hour and 50 minutes, and it is rated R if it wasn't obvious to you already. This is being directed by Mr. Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein. Now, I've never heard of these gentlemen before, but if you scroll down, I am familiar with a title or at least a franchise, Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock, that came out in 2020. I have not seen this particular series, but as a child, I did grow up on Fraggle Rock. Loved them, loved them, loved them. Leprechaun Origins, interesting. I don't know. I mean, they got a lot of titles right here. If you have seen any of these right here and you are a fan of their work, please let me know down in that good old comment section below. Now, when it comes to the Final Destination franchise, I've been a fan ever since high school. I think my 10th or 11th grade years when they came out in 2000. And just like most people, I will never drive behind a giant truck hauling a bunch of logs. I'm just gonna stop, pull over, get into the other lane. I'm not gonna get behind them. But I'm a fan, like I said, and when I saw the trailer for this, I was like, man, how far can they take this franchise? But it seemed intriguing, and I was on board. I went in with mediocre expectations, also thinking that this was going to tie into all of the previous Final Destination films, kind of like Final Destination 5 did, which came out, I think, in 2015 or 17. It was a long, long time ago, and it was good. So there hasn't been a Final Destination movie that I have not liked. They've all been entertaining. I've been satisfied, and I was just here for the fun ride. Wanted a decent story that makes sense, but also some crazy deaths that hit you at the last minute. Did I get that? Let's talk about it. So before I get into all the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what Final Destination Bloodlines is all about. Plagued by a recurrent violent nightmare, a college student returns home to find the one person who can break the cycle and save her family from the horrific fate that inevitably awaits them. Now, is Final Destination Bloodlines the best film in the franchise? Not remotely, but it is still very good, and let me tell you why. First off, as soon as the film started off, I was in love with the characters. Not just the main characters, but a number of the supporting people as well that ended up dying in the premonition that our main lead had at the very beginning. You know, when it's back in the day and they're up in some sky tower and everyone is falling to their death. I loved her, and I loved the person that she was with, and like I said, some of the surrounding characters as well. And the reason why I like them is not only because they're funny. There were a number of moments in this film that not only I was laughing, but the whole auditorium, the whole theater. And the reason why it's funny is when you can relate to certain things, if you say to yourself, man, I've been there before, or if I was in this person's shoes, I would do the exact same thing. Yeah, you're gonna laugh because it is familiar to you. I don't know why, but sometimes things that are true are funny, and that was all throughout this film. This is the 6th film in the franchise. Pretty much everybody knows how this works. So characters escape death. Death is mad and coming back for revenge, and is not gonna stop until he kills or she kills everybody on the death list. Now, if you've seen the previous films, you know that if somebody predicts what's going to happen in their premonition, certain people are gonna die in a certain order. So if you know this, if you have the map, if you have it all drawn out, you can predict who is coming next. So if you're on a list and you know that you're going to die next, you're gonna be walking on eggshells. You're gonna be peeking around every corner, looking up, down, left, right, in and out, just to make sure that some random thing does not happen to you and you die for some freak accident. And that is what the characters was doing in this film, which was funny. Again, I was laughing and everybody else was too. There was this one character, and I don't want to ruin it for you. He knew that he was next, so he's like holding on to people like, oh my God, where are we going? Okay, what was that noise over there? Did you see that light? What was that? And it's just funny, and you feel sorry for him. You want him to win. You're rooting for him, and it's a relatable situation. I mean, anybody put in that position would act the same way. And again, that's what makes you attach yourself to the characters and make you love them so much. Another reason why I like the characters is, for the most part, none of them are dumb. It doesn't take much to convince them, like, guys, Something is going on. If we do not stick together, we're all gonna die. Really? Okay, that seems a little bit far-fetched. Oh, you see this person that just died? I told her that was gonna happen 5-10 minutes ago. Now will you listen to me? Yes, I will listen to you. I mean, it's just that simple. It's just that easy, okay? Usually in these films, they always have 1 or 2 or 3 characters like, oh no, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm just gonna run off and do what the hell I wanna do. And they're rude and they're disrespectful and they're condescending. And the writing is trying to make you hate that character so that when they die, you don't feel that bad. You're like, oh man, they deserved it. They were horrible. Get them out of here. That's not necessarily the case with these characters. You have the first scene where everyone is falling to their death. And man, that is gruesome, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But after that, and just some of the kills following, I was like, oh my gosh, you knew this person was going to die, but when they met their demise, you were just sad because they were just so nice. They were the head of the family, great attitude, just positive, filled with so much energy, but they got their face clawed off by a lawnmower. It's just ridiculous, gory, and over the top. I love it, and that's what we're here for, but it really did suck when a number of the characters did die in this film because I did feel an attachment to them. Now, this film is being described as splatter horror, supernatural horror, and horror. I've just heard of horror before, maybe supernatural, but they put all this in here. I thought it was hilarious, so I just wanted to add that in my review. But splatter horror, that is a good description of this because there is blood everywhere. If you just want to sit back for a couple of hours and watch people just die in these over-the-top, exaggerated ways with blood exploding all over the screen, all over the place, this film is for you. After 6 films, they still continue to find creative and innovative ways of how people can die in the most random of these situations. And some of it is very, very fast and quick, like bam, that came out of nowhere, just a blade flying through the air and chopping someone's head off. But some of it is a slow build to where you know someone is trapped in a room and they get caught on a ceiling fan, or their shop is caught on fire, or they're submerged in water and there is electricity coming around the corner that's going to shock them to death. I like both of those scenarios. One to where it's building up with tension and you're at the edge of your seat like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Please someone kick down the door and save the day. Or just the randomness where somebody has an attitude, they step on the street and get ran over by a bus. And there's a happy medium in between both of those two. So as far as the supernatural horror and the splatter horror, I did like all of that. I got all the deaths and surprises I want, so that's a knock out of the park as well. Next thing I liked about this film is the pacing. It came in at 1 hour and 50 minutes, including credits, but this honestly felt like it was a 90-minute movie, an hour and a half. And when you have a longer movie that feels shorter, to me, that's just good pacing. As soon as the movie started, it felt like it ended, but not in a bad way. It wasn't jarring. I mean, as soon as the movie started, I actually said, man, I think I have to go to the bathroom real quick. And I was able to hold it all the way through and not get up and have to go to the restroom. That just means to me that the film was able to keep my attention and keep my interest from beginning to end. And that's always something that I do appreciate as well. Also, guys, we got to talk about the legendary Tony Todd, who passed away last year in 2024. This man is known for the Final Destination films. He's also known for Candyman, and I've seen the latest Candyman, but the originals I've just seen bits and pieces here and there. But he has a large filmography, ton of acting credits, some producing credits as well, and he will be surely missed. And you know they had to give him a lovely send-off in this film. Now, I will be honest with you, the brief moment that led up to his scene in this film was completely unrealistic, and I will talk about that in a second. But when Tony Todd was on screen, this is one of the best send-offs I've ever seen in any film whatsoever. And that may have been because they knew that he was dying. If you look it up, they said that Tony Todd knew that he was dying and his health was in concern and he did not have that much time left. He knew that, the cast knew that, the crew knew that, the producers, the executives, everybody knew that. So they just made a special little moment for Tony Todd just to say bye to all his fans. And it touched me right here. And it wasn't jarring or over the top or shoehorned in. It fit perfect given the context of the film and what was going on and also his position, the role that he was playing. I mean, his character is death, essentially. I mean, he doesn't go around killing people himself in these Final Destination movies, but he is the spokesperson of death that is dying about a movie about death. So who better to have in this scene to flesh out all these themes? I know That did rhyme. And that's Tony Todd. The director told himself, like, Tony, this is about death. You're the spokesperson of death. Just say one of your last lines, speaking to the camera directly to the fans. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said. You're just going to have to go see the movie for yourself. But it was worth it, man. And I was just like, oh my goodness gracious. That was very heartwarming. It pulled on my heartstrings, all of that. There wasn't a standing ovation at the end of the movie, but a number of people did clap in appreciation to this man's hard work and what he did for the genre. So rest in peace, Tony Todd. Rest in peace, my brother. So I liked the characters. I thought they was funny. They were relatable. They did listen. I loved all the deaths. I loved Tony Todd. And about the deaths, that premonition at the very beginning, I just want to talk about how long it was. At one point during the middle, I thought it was going to cease. I thought it was over with. And people just kept dying over and over. And I'm just like, wow, when is it going to stop? And I really like it when people in a group are working together. Like there's a tragedy, there's an event, there's something catastrophic happening. And some people will just kind of run off by themselves with like their head is cut off like a chicken. But some people kind of get some sense and be like, okay, let's work together. We're more likely to survive if we put our heads together. And when they're doing that, fighting to survive as a group, it just makes you want to root for them more and get you more engaged in the scene. And that is exactly what happened with this intro scene, with this premonition when everybody's falling to their death. Even though I've seen all of these movies before, I'm still surprised how they are able to unalive people in so many creative ways. It's crazy. But guys, those are going to be the things that I really did like about the film. Now let me talk about some aspects that really did not work out for me. I said I liked or loved all the characters for the most part, except for one by the name of Eric. He was cool at first, and I liked his will to survive as well. But for some reason, the writing just said, you know what? All these characters are so likable. Let's just have one that's annoying, that's obnoxious, that just kind of wants to do his own thing. And that was Eric. He got arrogant. He got cocky. And you have to see the film to see what happened to him, but he was just a distraction. I just did not like him. They just did a complete 180 and made him go down the boo-boo hole. Another thing that I really didn't like about this film is the last act of the movie did feel a bit rushed. I wanted the same pacing that we got in the first act and the second, but towards the end, it kind of just seemed like, okay, we don't have that much time. Let's just go ahead and end this. And with that being said, the ending did seem a bit anticlimactic. I did not know what was going to happen. I'm not saying that it was predictable, but when it was all said and done, I did kind of say to myself, oh, that was it. This film had a bigger bang at the beginning and middle than at the end. And I've never felt that way, I think, for any of the other Final Destination films. I was just like, okay, the beginning is starting out great and they keep excelling and getting better and better and better and more extravagant with these deaths. And instead of going up like this or like this, it seemed like they started going down just a little bit in their third act, you know, with my anticipation being a bit elevated as well. And the last thing I really didn't care for in this movie is I wanted them to tie this movie into the previous films just a bit more. With this being the sixth movie, I will say that you don't necessarily have to see the previous five to understand this one. You'll get a better idea if you do, but that's just not necessary. And what's crazy is if you saw Final Destination 4 or 5, I think it was 5, to where it did not seem like it was tied in with everything else until the very end, to where you send them and say, oh, that's how it ties into all of the other films. With this one, Final Destination Bloodlines, is loosely tied in with those, just with some lines of dialogue and a pamphlet here and there, but not to the extent that you may think from the trailer. So I just want you to tailor your expectations there. Again, some of the other supporting characters that I did like is the girl from the past who is still alive today. Just her will to survive and all that she went through is commendable. And she had a number of comedic moments as well as the crazy old lady that wants to live in the woods by herself. But again, guys, is this a perfect movie? No, it is not. Is this the best in the franchise? No, not remotely, not slightly. But it's still good. It's still entertaining. It is worth your time. It is worth your money, in my opinion. So go see it because I said so. But guys, I will go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end. But for now, that is just my opinion. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that subscribe button and help me reach my next milestone of 60,000 subscribers. So if I had to rate Final Destination Bloodlines out of a 1 out of 10. And I'm also rating this based on comparing it to the previous films. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yes, a 7.5 out of 10, which is still great. It's still positive. Hopefully you'll see this film. I think you'll enjoy it. Guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget, I'm B. Avery. That's just my opinion. Peace. And I'll see you next time.